Okay, so welcome. As usual, we'll be having what else in our series. We're having serious product knowledge on property. So once you guys can see my screen, let me know. I guess you should be seeing my screen now. Amazing. So let's fire on. So who am I? Why should listen to me? I have to say this every time because we have new people joining us. Number one, and number two, at some point in time, people are watching this on YouTube. My name is Bolo Kande. I'm a seasoned real estate investment strategist. Right? I like to emphasize this. I am not a realtor, right? Investment strategist, I deal with data, I deal with numbers, I sit down and analyze things. So if I tell you to invest in a property, there's factual data backing it. I do not give, this place is good, it's going to appreciate in 10 years. No, working with data here, right? I help you get the highest ROI with the least risk possible using real estate as your wealth vehicle, right? I'm CEO of Zee Realty, right? So I'm inclined towards helping younger people invest in properties the Z way, right? And why do we say the Z way? Because the Z way is the easy way. Does that make sense, guys? So let's fire on quickly. So today we're looking at the A to Z of Certificate of Occupancy. A to Z of Certificate of Occupancy. I'm going to go really fast because a chunk of what we're going to do is I'm going to bring an actual CFO and show you guys. I'm going to look at it together and dissect it. Are you with me? Like I always do, right? One of the privileges of experience is that I have all these documents on my fingertips, so I can easily pull one and use it to teach. So let's look at some key points. Number one is that the LUA. What's the LUA? Let me see if you guys are actually good students of mine. What is the LUA? You hear LUA in land conversations. What does it mean? Come on. Okay, great. The Land Use Act, right, of 1978. So prior to 1978, communities and families owned properties, right? And settlements, if you have been on the property for a long while, usually about 25 years, without any disturbance, you are considered to be the owner. Right? And usually when the government wanted to build something, imagine the government wanted to build a bridge, they have to buy from these communities. They have to buy from these people. Right? So they made up their mind that, come on, this can't happen again. Amongst many other things that, they factored in, then they brought in the Land Use Act, which says all the lands in the states, in plain terms, is under the charge, right? Is vested in state government to, administer for the people of that state. So what that simply means is the state governor is in charge of all the lands in the state. So by this, all the land ownership in that state moved from communities and from families to the government. Are you with me? And I've talked about this. You can watch previous episodes if you're new here. That birthed things like excision, birthed things like the CFO and all of that. So the CFO came into birth because of things like this. Are you with me? So when the governor basically release a portion of land, they'll give you a certificate of occupancy and all of that to prove that you are the rightful owner of that property. So it was in 1978 the LUA that started this. Prior to this, there was nothing like a CFO and all of that. Now, if the powers of all the lands in the state are vested in the state governor to administer and all of that, the rights and authority, it just means that it will vary from state to state. Are you with me? So if you're a realtor or you're a buyer or whatever you are in the real estate space, you have to familiarize yourself with the particular operation mode of your state. Are you with me? Now, there are similar things across all the states, but then some states have particular things. For example, if you go to a state like Abuja, you hear things like R of O and C of O. They are different. What's the difference between R of O and C of O? So it's your duty to study around the specific dynamics of your states and know how it actually works. And usually a C of O is valid for 99 years. Well, we begin to look through, we'll find out why and how all of these things work. So when I mean valid for 99 years, the actual length of a C of O is 99 years. After 99 years, then nobody knows what happened, honestly, because the first CFO was given, obviously, let's imagine 1978. If you calculate to the current time of this recording, which is 2023, it's not up to 99 years. So literally no CFO has expired. So we're waiting to see what happens when CFO expires. So 18 key details in every CFO. Are you guys ready? I'm going to break this down, trash it, and all of that. And you now see the importance of all the other documents that we have treated up until the CFO. Are you guys ready? Come on, if you're ready, type ready. Type ready. Great. Let's go. I like that energy. So let me pull up these documents from, where is it? Give me a second, guys. Let me pull up these documents. I already have it. Okay. Give me a second. Pull up the CFO document here. So like I said, I'm going to show you an actual CFO, and I have already annotated on it to make life easier for you. Okay, so when somebody says the document or the property has a CFO, don't worry, it's not my mystery. You can actually check it yourself now, or maybe not yourself, but to a large extent. So if you can see my screen, say screen. You can see my screen, say screen. And so you should be seeing the CFO document. Now, the first thing is a CFO document is not a hidden document. Are you with me? If they're truly confident that what they are selling is valid, then they're not going to hide it. Are you with me? So it means you can request for a CFO document. Now, they may not exactly give you the original copy, they will give you a photocopy, but you should be able to request, to be able to cite it, have a picture. Like I said, it may not be the real document that they'll give you, but I mean, like this one, like soft copy, you should be able to have it. Are you with me? So, first of all, is any company that says we don't show our CFO, then yeah, it's suspect. Are you with me? High chance you are lying. I remember asking a company, I've said this many times, for a governor's consent, and they were speaking English. I went straight to their CEO. Right? You know, part of why you have to be a big boy in this industry is so that you can have access directly. So I went up to the CEO. Right? Let me even pause and just chip this in. If you're going to be somebody who wants to start selling property, one of the things you need to build is good relationship. And that's CEO, ABCD, EFG, and then started speaking English. He didn't have it. They were lying, and that's why they were stressing me all the while. Are you with me? So, like I said, part of the things you have to do as a realtor is, or somebody who is in the real estate space, is you have to build good relationship, especially if you're a realtor for your clients. I remember a particular property that we're going to check out, and my client said I think he had just about 40 million for that property, and was actually going at 50 million. I looked at him. I said, "Don't worry, I will secure you a 10 million discount." I went to the office, sat down with the group managing director of that development company. I say, "Oga, my client has this. Your practice this. Y'all have to give me a discount." I mean, I've worked with you guys for a while, and CEO granted it, right? Literally, I mean, we know what 10 million discount is. Not 10 naira discount, 10 million discounts. And why is that? Because I have a good relationship. So anyway, we'll talk about that. Right. On the base of product knowledge, we're going to start having conversations on all of those other things as time goes on. So now I have literally high-marked 18 things that you should pay attention to. Now I can't literally say 18 things every CFO must have. And why is that? Amongst many reasons, because these things vary from state to state. So some states may have this and not have that. Some states may have that and not have that. But I just use this to let you know things to pay attention to, right? Like I said, there may be plus and minus, but on a base level, you should have some similarities, regardless of the CFO that we're dealing with. So let's go. Number one, I have it. Hope you can see number one. If you can see number one, tap number one. Let's zoom in. Can you guys see number one? Great. Now, because like I said, first of all, notice this company says, how many of you can see the watermark? You see for marketing use only. How many of you can see that? So they didn't even hide it. They just shared it to us like, hey guys, this is our CFO, take it. So some other companies are giving their CFO for marketing to prove. While some other companies are saying, we can't really show you. Once they are forming hard guy on their CFO. Just say no for me. Are you with me? When somebody speaks too much English, when I say give me a CFO document, it's a no for me. Are you with me? So, and that's me. Number one, it says the holder of this CFO is an artificial person, i.e., a company or corporation or continuous union, cooperative partners, blah blah, etc., are not a natural person, and therefore cannot be represented by a photograph. Why is this so? How about you? This sounds a bit scary. Like, ooh, artificial person. What do you mean, sir? How about you are like that? Like, what's the difference between an artificial and a natural person? Now, remember, I told you guys something, and if you've been following my teachings, I always emphasize a limited liability company is literally seen as an entity by the government. So, if let's imagine I have a company, Bolu Okunade Limited, it is not Bolu Okunade. They are two different people. So, and I've explained, like I said, many of times, many of you, your basic, was it business studies? Yes, in secondary school, they told us these things, but nobody paid attention to. Limited liability company. So the company is literally a third person. It's literally a person on its own. The government sees this as a person, and that's why we can sue a company. Are you with me? You can sue the company because the company is a separate person from the owner. Does that make sense? So that's exactly what happens here. Normally, the picture is meant to be there, but because it's owned by a company. Now, listen, a limited liability company, it's important. A business name is not separate from the business, you get from the owner of the business. But a limited company, when you see LTD, when you see PLC, some cooperative unions and all of that. So that's why it doesn't have a picture. This is very important. So the first thing is that if the person is a natural person, right? If I'm selling the property to you, my property as a person, then we should see that my picture there. But because it's a company, we see that there. Are you with me? So if that's clear to you, type clear. Let's move on. We have 18 things to cover. I want to brush through this really quickly. Is that clear to you guys? So that's why you have something like that there. It's an artificial person. Great. So let's move on. Now the next thing you must see is number 2. Every certificate of occupancy has a registered number. Somebody say at least put logo. Companies can rebrand. Are you with me? So, and these things are very dicey. So if you put a logo now and I rebrand my company, right, and I change my logo, would that register my this thing invalid? Are you with me? Great. So look here, 1996, I said 1996, sorry, Certificate of Occupancy. So the next thing you must see is my CFO number, 96/96/2023D. Now, why is this important? Usually, are you guys aware that this microphone is on? Kishi, please mute your microphone. Kishi, please mute your microphone. I'm gonna have to. Okay, thank you. Okay, back to what I was saying. Sorry. So now, are you guys aware that we're in an amazing country, as at this time called Nigeria? Not even Nigeria. It's not a Nigerian trait. Anybody can actually recreate this document. How many of you know that? Some of you say, if I tell you basic Microsoft Word, the font is not even deep. Are you with me? Get Lagos State logo, design, and all of that. I say, where's your CFO? Show me the documents. So this is it. It's just like a voter's card. Anybody can, make a copy. But this document, and that is why we do not exactly trust. When people say they have a CFO, the reason why we request for their documents is because we will go to the Lagos State Lands Bureau and then check. So what happens is that with this certificate of occupancy number, once they put it in their system, they will draw out this particular document. Are you with me? And then everything that you showed me should tally with what is in their system. If it doesn't tally, then the CFO is fake. It's a fraud. Are you with me? So this number is very important. Does that make sense? So that's the next thing you want to check. Every CFO should have its registration number, and we can use it to check. Now, the next thing is who it's registered to. So look at number 3 here, guys. and all other powers enabling him that, okay, so this specified that, okay, let me just move on. The governor of Lagos State hereby grants to, I blurred out the name just for, privacy. It's not a private document really, but I mean, it's just ethical to do so. Dash Homes and Property Limited. How many of you can see that? Can you now see that it's an artificial person? So there will come a problem if my name is there. Let's say Bolu Kwande, and then you go to the place where they say, and it's telling me it's an artificial person. Can you see there's conflict there? Are you guys paying attention? So this number one, imagine the owner of this is Bolu Kunade, and is now saying the holder of this CFO is an artificial. Please, I'm not an artificial person. There's already something fishy from the base. Does that make sense? Is something fishy from the base. Something is not tallying because I'm not an artificial person and you should not show that. Right? So you see the Homes and Properties Limited. You should have full name of the person with that CFO. Are you with me? And in this case, it belongs to a company. Are you with me? I've always emphasized it. That imagine I own Bolo Kwanade Limited. You should not see Bolo Kwanade. You should see Limited on it. Who the owner is who must be on the CFO. I keep shouting this. I've seen very funny things in the property industry, and it's very important that we just have that there. Are you with me? So you should not have a different person on the CFO. Are you with me? And a different person claiming to be the owner. Does that make sense? Anyway, we're going to see all of that as we go on. So it's really, really important. Now, you have that. Then you now have the location of the property, which is number 4. How many of you know that land is immovable? And which is why we can actually put it. How many of you know that land is immovable? Land is immovable. So that means the property of the address of a place is going to be the address of that place for life. It won't change. Does that make sense, guys? Unless maybe but really does an address change. Surulere is Surulere forever. Shangotedo is Shangotedo forever. Are you following what I'm saying, guys? Somebody's microphone is unmuted. Kishi, please help me unmute your microphone again. Thank you. Kishi, please unmute your microphone. Sorry, mute your microphone. I'm sorry. So you follow me. So the address of that property should be clearly stated there. It's important, right? They are giving a certificate of occupancy for a particular property. So you must see the address there, clearly stated. Notice, not just, there's this thing, I wish I could have raised this. Right? Oh, sorry, this is not even the address of property. This is the address of the person. Are you with me? Hereinafter referred to as the holder. Now, if you see, I underline the word the holder. So the first address there is the address of the person, not the address of the property. Apologies. Now, look at here. How many of you can see the holders? So, listen. The government is actually giving you the property to hold, not to own. Did you hear what I just said? That's very important. Because in the real sense, after 99 years, like I said, I don't know what happened, but usually the property becomes the government's own back. Or probably you have to renew yourself. Or no, nobody knows about that for now. Are you with me? So that's why you see that holder there, not owner, because the government owns all the land in that. Are you with me? So you are holding it for 99 years for them. Does that make sense? Really, really important. So over all that parcel of land known as, then you now have the details of the property. Can you see that? So the details of the owner, details of the property must be there. The address, sorry, of the property. Now this is where I'm going. If you're with me thus far, type with me. Somebody say, property is not rice and beans. So you are holding the property on behalf of the government for that period of time. Are you guys following me? Great. So now, notice, we're number 6. So we've highlighted 3, 4, 5, number 6. And the number 16 is survey plan number. Now, if you have not watched my resource on survey plan, I'm a tweet on YouTube. Go and watch it. Can you guys see why I took you through survey plan before I took you through C of O? Because listen to me, I told you, every survey plan, how many of you remember me saying this, has its number. So before you can get a C of O, you must get a survey plan. You must do your registered survey. So the survey plan number will be there. And that's why if you don't do your registered survey well, you will still eventually pay for it again. Because if that one is not done well, this one will not be done. They will not give you a C of O without the proper survey plan. And why is that? I can't begin to re-emphasize or re-explain what a survey plan is. But survey plan shows you the exact location. Are you with me? And more particularly described a statutory right of occupancy. Can you see the number of C of O here? For a term of how long? 99 years. That's the seventh thing I want you to show. So we're moving on really fast because I have 18 things to cover. 99 years. If you can see that, type 99 years. Great. Great. Exactly. So that's 99 years. So that's the length. Now, why is this? Anyway, you see why it's important. For mixed use. Now, you see, the way documents are, there are little things that not many people pay attention to. And if you don't pay attention to it, can cost you a lot. Mixed use. And that's why the government even helped you to put some of these things in red. What does mixed use mean? Are you aware that? Are you guys aware that you cannot use every land for everything? So the government actually has a general layout. How many of you saw a video at some point in time where they appointed the new FCT minister and he was saying he's going to have you saw that? I think it's Wiki. Wiki was saying that if you build where you're not supposed to build and all of that, he's going to take down your house. Because there's a way the government has their layout. And in their layout, they have planned the state. So how many of you have gotten to some places and it just seems like there are companies around that area? Maybe industrial companies all producing around that area. And there seems to be no residential places there. No residential, they're not people living around those places. If you have seen those kind of things, type it. Great. So why is that? The government has planned that area that we are leaving this place for industrial. So you are not meant to build your house there. And part of why they do this is because of safety. Those people are releasing poisonous gases into the atmosphere. And if you build your house there, your health is at risk. So that land, most likely, they would have high-marked it. This land, though, is only for industrial. You know what that means? If you build a house in that place, they would come and demolish your house. So you can have a C of O and the government will still demolish the house because the reason for or the use of that land is wrong. Are you with me? So the use of the land will be specified with the C of O. You see some properties saying for residential use. Some who can say for agricultural use. That means you are only meant to farm on that land. Some will say for commercial use. Are you with me? Only commercial development should be there. So this one says for what? For mixed use. Mixed use means you can use it for a variety of things. I don't know how many of you have seen this. Let me pause and ask. How many of you have seen, if you follow property very well, you know some particular estates, or let me even ask you in your estate, you find out that in your estate, there are houses, and there are now also maybe like shopping malls in your estate. How many of you live in estates like that? They're like shopping malls in your estate. Now, a shopping mall is not a residential building. Are you with me? It's a commercial building. Are you with me? However, there's a high chance that the estate secured that land for mixed use. So they can house residential people, and the estate owners will now plan it. Maybe they can say residential one side, and usually close to the entrance, they will now put their shopping amenities. Are you with me? And why is that? It's simply because their C of O allows them to use the land for what? For mixed use. This is important. So you want to check and ensure that the use that you want to use it for is the use that the CFO has approved for. Does that make sense, guys? Are you with me? If that makes sense, type use. So you want to be sure that it's it. So if you want to build a factory, don't go and buy a CFO land that's only verified for residential. You're going to have a problem. Great. So let's go to number 10. So we've covered 8 things. 9 things, sorry. Now number 10. It is expensive. The CFO is expensive. How many of you can see the cost? The holder, basically, the guys by covenant to pay A, yearly rent of 9 million on the first day of January. B, the rent shall be subject to revision every 5 years. C, the development charges of 112 million naira per annum for the first 3 years. So do the math. How much are they going to pay in 3 years for developmental charges alone? How much is that? 112 times 3. How much is that? Let me see. That's about 336 million. Are you with me? So when you want to buy a C of O land, these are the things that make the land expensive. Are you with me? So it's important. This is not for the land, though. This is not for the document. This is developmental charges. Apart from the 9 million they're going to pay every year. Are you with me? So really, really important, right? So we've talked about the mixed use. Can you see it again? Right? Very important. So this makes your whole land very expensive. Now, the particular property where I got this from, half a plot is 15 million currently. And I think a full plot, is it 15? I want to cross check it. Half a plot is, okay, they're on a promo. So it's 15 million. A full plot, 500 square meter, is 25 million. Why is it that expensive? Look at how much they're paying. Don't forget, they are going to develop on that land. They are going to do your gatehouse. They are going to do your roads. They are going to do your drainage. They are going to do. Are you getting what I'm saying? So they have to factor all these costs in, and they still have to make profits as a development company. So, do you understand what I'm saying? So look at this chart. So CFO lands are expensive, very expensive. It depends on you. So some people want settled document. They buy CFO land. Some people don't want the wahala. They just carry their money and they buy CFO land. But some people would rather buy a land that has probably freehold and all of that. At the payment for the lifetime of land use, no, it's there. The yearly rent of 9 million naira on the first day of January each year. But for the developmental charges, they're going to pay it just for the first 3 years. Are you with me? And that's why. Now, calm down. Just listen. This, anyway, we're going to see how large this land is. Right? These people, or this CFO belongs to an estate. So the entire expanse of land, it's actually hectares. Are you with me? Is what they are paying for. So usually they probably will now break it down. And by the time they break it down, it won't be this expensive. Are you with me? Hectares. When I mean hectares, I mean 1 acre. Let me tell you how large a hectare is. Right? These people are selling it in 1 hectare is 10,000 square meters. And one plot is averagely 600, 500 square meters. Does that make sense? So do the math. You find out that when it gets to individual plots, it's not really hectic. Right. So let's move on now. I've highlighted mixed use. Let's go to number 11. Let's read number 8 very carefully. Not to alienate the right of occupancy hereby granted, or any part of it by assignment, mortgage, transfer, sublease, power of attorney, deed of gift, or by any dealing without the word consent of the governor. Does this now make sense? Why C of O is only given once. Any other person who buys that property will get what? Governor's consent. And what does that simply mean? It's simply the governor saying, okay, I consent, I agree to the transaction between person A, who has a C of O, and person B. Does that make sense? So only the first person who processes can have a C of O. Every other person would have a governor's consent, which is as valid as a C of O. Are you with me? So that's where that title comes from, governor's consent. It's actually derived, as a C of O, from a C of O ish. Are you with me, guys? Is this making sense? It's making sense. That sense. We're almost done. I've just I think 6 more to pull through. Great. Now, number 12 is attached survey plan. I kept hammering on why the survey plan is important. So you see the survey plan attached, right? And I have done an extensive teaching on survey plan, so I'm not going to really handle all of that now. Check our YouTube channel. And now, I told you 1 hectare is how many square meters? 10,000 square meters. Are you following me? And look here. Notice, this is the first time we're seeing it. So we've seen the address, we've seen the mixed use. Now, the next thing I want you to pay attention to is you will see the size. So these people have 10.013 hectares, and that's why it's that expensive. Are you with me? So if you do the math, you have almost 100,000 square meters of land. Do you know how much that is? Let's do like all those excellent people. So if they're doing 10.013 hectares, and 1 hectare is 10,000, that means they have 100,130 square meters. Are you guys following me? If you're following me, type 100,130 square meters. Now remember, if you divide, they're selling their plots at for 500 square meters, they're selling it currently for about 25 million. So if you do the math properly, times 25 billion, I want to help you do some math. If they sell out this property, everything in this property, they're going to have about 500 billion. No, the math is not math, Okay, 5 billion and 6,500,000. If these people sell out their property, are you with me? And that's even if they don't increase price, about 5 billion. I know you see real estate is sweet, but I'm showing you the costs, how much they are spending. So you see, they don't worry. 112 million for your this thing. Don't worry, we'll pay you guys. We know how much you're going to book on the property. Then we pay you. Don't worry. How much you say this thing will pay for the silver? So you see, it's when you do the maths in the grand scale of things, it's not exactly bad maths. And so they have 10 hectares. Right? And I've shown you survey plan. Now, the next thing that you see is coordinates. And I've explained to you why coordinates are important. Coordinates are important because, let me tell you, there's a scam that some people do. Pay attention to me, guys. And if you don't know this, you can fall for it. Now, are you aware that me, as I am now, as a company, it's possible for me to have 10 different estates in a region? If that makes sense, type 10 estates. Now, imagine I'm selling a property to somebody who's in the diaspora, somebody who's in the US, or the UK, and doesn't know these places. I just tell him that the property is in Songotedu. Are you following me? Now, let's say 5 of my estates have C of O, 5 of the other estates don't have C of O, and they are all in Songotedu. That means when you check the address, you'll actually see Songotedu. Are you with me? Now, I can present a C of O of one of my estates. Please mute your microphone if it's on. Please, thank you. Do we have that cleared out? Peter Samuel, please mute your microphone. Peter Samuel, please mute your microphone. Thank you. Now, follow me. So, I can give you the C of O of one of my estates. So, imagine I'm selling an estate to you that doesn't have C of O. and you say, give me your document, I give you the one of my states. Now, guess what? You will check, my name will be on it. Are you with me? The address. You're in the diaspora. You don't really know the exact place. So you see Songo Tedo. Does that make sense, guys? However, what may be able to save you is the coordinate difference. Are you with me, guys? So coordinates are very important. Coordinates are very important. If the coordinates are different from the actual, do you get what I'm saying? The coordinates here are different from the actual coordinates. So there's foul play going on somewhere. Are you with me? So coordinates are important. I've also explained on coordinates extensively in what I do in survey plan. That. So let's move on. Number 15 is the date. Now, some of them say, "Is it not just date? It's not just date." Listen, date is important too. Date is important. Why is date important? First of all, did you notice they didn't do their dates the way we used to write in primary school, 13/9/2020? So this is the first CFO, by the way, it just came out. Right? 13/9/ it was written out in full. Why is the date important? Listen, when you go back, what you will see, are you following me? Is that they said something in their clause. It says, for a term of 99 years, commencing from the date of registration. So that means the CFO of this property is valid for 99 years, and they start counting from this day. This is important. I've said this, that this is a very good property. I mean, if it's a property you want to buy, you can come to me. Amazing property, by the way. I mean, these developers are one of the best property. Let me help you. You know, at the time of this recording, and there's a lady that won Guinness World Record, Hilda Bassi. She has a property. Is it this or Arizona? Yeah, I think it's in this estate. She has a property. She bought property from these guys. That's how good they are. Are you guys follow what I'm saying? They actually bought or they gave her, but she has a property, I think in Arizona estate, so I can't remember. So if this is a property you want to get, clean property, come and meet me. I mean, I can vouch for this property. That's why we use this. But why moving in? Follow me carefully. Do you know that imagine you got to CFO, for example, there's a property that we're dealing with, and the CFO was gotten in 1990. Now, 1990 to 2023, if you do the math, 2023, that's to 1990. That's how many years? 33 years. Right? 33 years from 99 years, 66 years. That means that CFO on that property is only valid for 66 years. However, this one is fresh. So your 99 years, let me say it in vernacular, it's still they can't pay. Are you with me, guys? So date is important because it helps you to know when the CFO is going to end. Maybe not going to, because like I said, we don't know what happens at the end of the CFO. We know when the 99 years basically happens. So number 16, obviously, is that the document must be signed. Now, notice this was signed by the governor of Lagos State. So when you have a document saying the CFO is from Lagos State and it's the Taraba State governor that is signing it English, and then they have, it's stamped by the commissioner for stamp duties, signature is there, and also the registrar of titles, the signature is there. So, like I said, these are kind of things that may vary. You may not have commissioner for stamp duties in Taraba. You may not have registrar of titles. You get what I'm saying? So you need to know the dynamics of the place where you are. Now, 17 is, remember 18 things, is the instrument is registered as number 96 at page 96 in the volume 2023D. So can you see why the number is important? Can you see the number now? 96, 2023D. Now, why is it important? Because when they want to check for that document, if you are saying you have a CFO, I'll go to the bureau. Are you with me? And that's why we check. So they know where to check. They check this exact page. The location must be there. volume 2023D, and then they'll just check, and then this document must tell you with what they have there. Once it's valid, we can go. It means it's real. Are you with me? And then registered at this of the land registry in the office at Lagos this 5th day of September. So the document was given on the 3rd of September, and then it was filed on the 5th of September. Does that make sense? So you must have those two things clearly written there. Then you have some barcodes you can scan to get some special things, but it's not things that you can deal with. The other things that this barcodes for. I can't have that conversation now. We're really out of time. Does that make sense? Did you guys receive value? So you know what the CFO contains now. It's not vague to you. You have seen a CFO. You can relate. If that makes sense to you, type sense. Right. So like I said, if this is a property you're interested in getting, send me a DM. Funny enough, they have a good deposit. They allow you pay 2 million initial deposit and spread your balance, right? They have half plot. I think it's going at 15 million. Full plot at 25 million. So it's a good property. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. We'll get it across to you. But so yeah, back to what I was saying. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Where can the coordinates be verified? So usually to verify the coordinates, it's a surveyor that has this. Maybe I'll teach you some DIY survey techniques. There are actually apps you can download, but no, it's not optimal even as a starter. Right, you pay a surveyor. The surveyor will go and pick coordinates on the site, and then they'll verify it. Does that make sense? So it's usually a surveyor that does that. Right. So any other questions? Any other questions? So while we're waiting for questions, do something for me. Take a screenshot of documents. Take a screenshot of the documents of this page. Please share on Instagram, right? How many of you know that very few people who will show up consistently like this every week at no cost? Showing up every week at no cost. I mean, it's costing me, but it's not costing you. It's costing me, but it's not costing you, right? It's costing me a lot, right? It takes a lot to show up at this season. However, I'm doing it because I've committed myself. So the best you can do, take a screenshot, share on Instagram, your status, tag us at Zee Realty HQ. It's the least you can pay us. Right. Thank you so much. So let's move on. Really, really good. Where can the coordinates be verified? So I'm taking off the screen so I can answer questions now. Great. Where can the coordinates be verified? Oh, okay, no. Difference between a deed of assignment and CFO. I almost said they are different. Okay, so I'm seeing some. Let me quickly share the screen back so you can take a screenshot if you haven't done so. Good. A deed of assignment moves title from an individual to another individual. Have I talked about it? Okay, no, not yet. So we're going to have a deed of assignment. I'm going to show you the extensive details. CFO is the government giving you a certificate that validates your ownership. But if I want to sell, deed of assignment moves ownership title. So if I'm selling from person A to person B, there must be a deed. Person B to person C, there must be a deed. Are you with me? So the deed of assignment is part of the documents that will be perused and checked through before the government gives you a CFO. Right. So I think it's a good place to end, guys. Sure that you guys received a lot of value. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm going to see you all next week. And don't forget to tag us on your Instagram statuses. Have a great day.